Well, I would just love to show you an awesome update, but when Precious was home with Chad, she likes to throw the ball, and well, she doesn't. She likes to play fetch, and one of the cords is wrapped around the chair leg. The ball fell back here and knocked a bunch of my trays over, so I have to restart a lot of seeds. But look, I got cilantro and Brussels sprouts going. It looks like a bunch of cilantro. I don't know what happened to Brussels sprouts. I guess I'll restart those. Maybe I should try winter sowing. I don't know. I see. Yeah, it looks like there's a couple Brussels sprouts left. Yeah, this tray hasn't germinated yet. Some of those have. But yeah, I gotta restart seeds. It's time to water my primroses. And I was kind of enjoying lazy Arctic snow days for the past few days, so I just ignored plants. So I'm going to take care of that this morning and restart some seeds. Like I said, I wish I had better progress updates, but yeah. So I had to bring my potting soil inside to get it unfrozen. So that's why I'm doing it this morning also instead of yesterday when I was off. I'm closing tonight, so I got time this morning to do it. Listen, I'm starting seeds, and I don't remember if I told you or not, but I am adding extra perlite to the Fox Farm, and I had that red bowl down here to mix all that up in, because seedlings and stuff, they don't want the dampening off. They want oxygen airflow to the roots and they just do better if it's a lighter area mix versus a heavier potting soil made for more mature roots. These are finer, they're going to want more oxygen, so that's what I did to make it more of a seed starting mix. Seed starting mix basically consists of, most of the time, peat moss and perlite. Sometimes it'll have vermiculite in it too. I guess more recently they've been coming out with cocoa coir and vermiculite and perlite mixes because of the peat moss issue down by Australia. So there's that too. The only difference is with the potting mix with the Happy Frog anyway is it's got the worm castings, bat guano, got some mycorrhizae in there. It's just got some nutrition in there versus seed starting mix, which is, you know, very sterile. It doesn't have any microbiome growing in it besides maybe fungus gnats. So there's that. It's been even a few days since the last shot I done, so I kind of got an extended update going on, but today I'm taking care of houseplants. Yesterday I couldn't get cold or motivated, so I stayed under the blankets cuddling dogs on the couch basically all day. But today I'm warm enough and motivated, and so I was taking care of plants, and I noticed some of them I have a hard time keeping up with the watering, and then, you know, today's February 1st, so spring's right around the corner. I think I'm going to go ahead and start repotting because the day's getting longer. The plants are soon going to be signaled to know that it's the growing season, and going to, you know, so this will give them time to adjust to their pots and all that. And plus, like this neon pothos here, I have a hard time watering it in this pot. So I wanted to take these two neon pothos and pot them together in something bigger, and I was looking for some of the pots I had that go with those hangers up there, but the only ones I have that actually go with anything are like 8-inch pots. I'm looking for a 6-inch, so I'm going to go with this clear one. I think you know, the extra air holes in it will be helpful for settling into a new size pot. So when you up pot, you don't want to go too big. You only want to go like 2 inches or less bigger in diameter than what you want. So that's like a 4-inch pot, so this is a 6-inch pot, and this one is deeper in ratio to, like, see, that's also a 4-inch pot. Well, this one's closer to 5 actually, but yeah, so that's just a little bit of difference there. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start repotting. I brought in my cocoa husk. This is some mix already mixed up for Hoya. Obviously I could just add more potting soil to it and mix it up, and it'll work fine for that. For most of my aeroids, epiphytes, I like to keep it nice and airy and chunky. Not quite as chunky and airy as Hoya, but definitely chunkier than just regular potting soil, especially for going inside or even outside in fuller sun conditions. I am an overwaterer. Typically, I tend to love plants too much when I'm bored, and sometimes I ignore them when I just don't want to deal with it. But I love plants and love getting back into it, so no matter how long I ignore them, I'm still there for them. Just can they hang there with me? So, but anyway, back to what I was getting at. I like a nice airy mix, chunky for adding. Yeah. So I basically eyeball. I don't have a perfect recipe for every single time, you know, and then I use different ingredients depending on price, availability, and things like that too. So it just taking a feel and experimenting with different textures and amounts and whatnot. But that looks pretty good, I'd say, for like a philodendron or a monstera or epipremnum, scindapsus, syngonium even. A lot of them. You could even do Maranticea in this if you'd want to, but you don't have to put in the cocoa husk, I guess. I don't know. I can't successfully grow calathea, it seems, so that's what it appears to be. All right, my potting mat is occupied with the seed starting project. Oh, why don't I just take that, mix that in here too. Then we'll get it out of the way and wash that. Perlite, we're moving it to the side for now. I just kind of got a little cluttered corner kept over here for now because this is where my station is. I have plants and papers on my dining room table. Otherwise, in the wintertime, that's where I've been doing my plant care, is the dining room table. Alright, so I'm going to put some at the bottom here. And I think that's deep enough because, yeah, I'm going to have that. Well, maybe I need to add a little bit more. Try that. See how that does. Okay, I'm going to loosen it out of the pot, and I like to squeeze around the pot. Obviously, that's harder with terracotta or a ceramic or stoneware, something like that, so I would suggest taking like a butter knife or something and loosening the edges of the soil from the edge of the pot. I'm going to pop that out. And it's not even root bound. It's just, yeah, I was underwatering it right there, and that's fine. I needed to repot that anyway. And this is my backup, so if that one fails from this repotting, then I still have that one. I think this soil looks pretty close to what I'm putting in there, so I'm going to leave the root structure alone, so that way it does not have as much transplant shock. If I broke up the soil around it, it would shock the root system even more, therefore shocking the plant. And since it's not in the growing season, it's best not to shock the plant as much as possible. So for that reason, I am leaving it like this and putting it in there, if it makes sense. Sometimes I bust up the soil and change it all out. Sometimes I don't. Oh. Look at the size of that root. Ah, it's just one really long root. So that's great that it's got one nice root system on it. So I'll put that in there next to it. And I've been trying to make my leaves face the same direction. That way I don't necessarily have to rotate my pots. Some plants, I think I do want to keep them rotated and looking like that, but I think for the majority, that's a lot of work. And so I'm going to just try to make them face one way. Now I'm going to bury the second cutting in there this deep. I'm just going to leave this part out. Maybe it'll grow, these aerial roots and stuff will grow into the soil and help strengthen it up even more. Plus, that's just bare, and it's really probably not going to grow new leaves on it. They say you could use the clone paste or whatever. I haven't experimented with that. Maybe I should one day. Ta-da! Now I'm going to water her in and put her back in the window and let her get all happy again. Let's take her to the sink. I just filled up the watering can with rainwater, which I got a 5-gallon bucket there on the other side of this wall, which is the office, and that room runs colder, so that's cold. So I have it warming up by the fireplace. But pothos does just fine with tap water. I do prefer rainwater though for several reasons, so I'm just gonna go water it in with tap water. I watered her in. I'm gonna let her drip. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just clean up her leaves while she's sitting here. And lastly, look at my little broccoli raw, my little cut and come again type of broccoli. Rapini, whatever you want to call it. Look at how good it germinated. So I'm going to have plenty to share because it's overcrowded. And I'm going to want to grow my broccoli in here. That way the deer don't try to get to it. But yay, so excited. Little broccolis. Alright guys, I'm going to spend some TLC time with plants and cleaning and all that fun stuff. And I love you, and so does Jesus, y'all. God bless.